The Galactic Assembly rotated slowly against the backdrop of the neutron star Chthon 9. From the outside, it resembled a silver ring gliding through black velvet, its hull peppered with millions of blinking lights, each a window into civilizations far older than humanity could comprehend. Inside, delegates from 72 starfaring species gathered in hovering orbs arranged like theater balconies above the central speaking platform. Earth's orb was dim. Captain Elara Miles sat alone inside it, flanked by hollow projections of empty seats, the other human envoys. Delayed in transit. She didn't need them. She didn't want them. A chime echoed. Let the record show, intoned a floating cube of light at the center, that humanity is present for the 98th General Session of the Galactic Assembly. A ripple of laughter passed through the chamber. Thin, echoing, almost polite. If laughter could sneer, this did. Elara tilted her head. Charming! On the platform below, Overlord Trezek Vun of the Vral Dominion stepped forward, his long armored frame towering above most other species. His voice came low and gravelly, amplified by unseen emitters. The species designated Homo sapiens, commonly referred to as humans, have continued to expand beyond their assigned space lanes. They breach borders. They manipulate primitive AI, they weaponize dark energy without regard for stabilization standards. He turned his crimson eyes toward her. They are a ticking device wrapped in skin and delusion. More laughter. Applause from a few Vral allies. Elara didn't blink. She simply adjusted the collar of her navy black uniform and leaned back, letting the silence around her swell. Let them believe they had the upper hand. Let them laugh. Trezek continued. If we tolerate this species' behavior, we welcome chaos into this council. A virus does not need an invitation. It merely spreads. The Valari ambassador buzzed its wings irritably. The Orlek delegate, a species that communicated through scent, released a visible puff of deep blue vapor, distaste. The cube floated forward again. Does the human delegate wish to respond? Elara stood. Her voice was calm, sharp. Not today! Murmurs erupted. No defense? Trezek barked a laugh. Perhaps they know their place after all. She sat down, hands folded. No, not today. Today wasn't for defense. It was for observation. After the session, the corridors outside the assembly echoed with clicks, chirps, hums, and footsteps. Elara walked alone, passing elegant alien delegates draped in silks, metals, translucent armor, each sizing her up with glances they thought subtle. Captain Miles! She stopped. A small insectoid figure emerged from the shadows, thin wings folding along its back. Ambassador Thrixie of the Valari swarm. You might not be aware, it said in the melodic clicks of Galactic Standard, but your removal is being debated in closed quarters. Trezek has submitted 3 motions. 2 are already gaining traction. How generous of him, Elara replied. Trying to kick us out before we get comfortable. Thrixie's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. Some think you humans are dangerous. Others, a pause. Fear what you might become. Fear's always a good start, she said, then added with a hint of amusement. We'll work on admiration later. The ambassador gave a low chirp, Valari laughter, maybe, and disappeared into the crowd. Back in her private quarters aboard the assembly's guest wing, Elara activated her security dampeners and sank into a chair. She stared at the ceiling, where the neutron star outside the station cast soft pulses of white-blue light through the skylight dome. She accessed her encrypted console and reviewed the latest assembly files. Vral ships conducting training exercises just outside Luna Nova's defense perimeter. Nominally legal. Strategically hostile. The data scrolled across her eyes. Her expression didn't change. She keyed in a secure channel. Admiral Reyes picked up immediately, his grizzled face appearing via holo, framed by the gunmetal walls of the Luna Nova war room. They're tightening the noose, she said without preamble. I've got 5 defense platforms on standby. Another 3 jump capable. Just say the word. Not yet, she said. Reyes scowled. They're baiting us, Elara. Make a move and we're painted the aggressors. Exactly. That's why we wait. He muttered something under his breath, but didn't argue further. Before cutting the feed, she added, Ares Protocol. Begin Phase 0 warm-up. Reyes's eyes narrowed. You're serious? I'm not playing for show anymore. He nodded once and vanished from the screen. She returned to the public chamber the next day, not to speak, but to listen. More accusations. More performance. She watched Trezek closely. He was confident. Too confident. And like every predator bred in strength, he couldn't imagine prey learning how to bite. But humans hadn't just learned to bite. They'd learned to burn everything in their way and still rebuild from ash. She thought of Earth's long road, climate collapse, nuclear standoffs, orbital wars, the near fall of the Terran Union. The only reason humanity survived wasn't because they were peaceful. It was because they were impossible to break. Let the assembly mock their short lives, their strange emotions, their chaotic nature. None of them had ever been cornered by extinction and clawed their way back. Elara sat in silence, listening, watching, smiling faintly as the words dripped from the mouths of fools. That evening, she received an encrypted ping. The sender ID was anonymous, but the code was unmistakably Vral. The message read, Enjoy your colony while it lasts. Accidents happen. She deleted the message without response. Instead, she drafted a memo to Earth High Command composed of only 3 words. Ready the wolves. The war room beneath Luna Nova's surface was carved from the bedrock of the moon's southern pole. No windows, no decor. Just steel walls, tactical holoscreens, and the sharp scent of ionized air. Above them, Earth's largest off-world colony slumbered unaware, shielded only by layers of stone and the quiet rage of its defenders. Admiral Reyes leaned over the central table, fingers planted firmly, his voice edged with frustration. We've seen Vral formations like this before. 10 ships fanned just outside the zone, long-range emitters spooling in cycles. That's not a training run. It's a blockade in waiting. They haven't crossed the line, Elara said calmly. She stood opposite him, arms folded, her uniform crisp despite the hours. We can't strike first. Reyes scoffed. You still think playing nice earns us friends in the assembly? No. But it keeps the records clean when the time comes to burn bridges. Behind them, the holodeck projected the Luna system in 3 dimensions. Red pings marked Vral destroyers hovering too close for comfort. Blue dots represented Earth's visible defense platforms. But beneath that layer, hidden in encrypted shadow, was another cluster, gray, silent, waiting. Reyes tapped one of the gray dots. They're ready. Elara nodded once. Initiate Phase 0 of Ares Protocol. No active locks. Just warm systems and run silent. You sure about this? He asked. Once we move, there's no walking it back. There won't be anything left to walk back from if we wait too long. Hours later, back aboard the assembly ring, Elara's quarters were dim. Only the neutron stars flicker casting motion on the walls. She sat cross-legged on her bunk, datapad in hand, eyes scrolling through intercepted communications. Most of it was standard diplomatic chatter. One thread stood out. A cluster of messages from Vral diplomats to regional allies, pressuring them to support Earth's expulsion. Accusations of militarism, expansionism, and interference. Typical misdirection. Fabricate a threat, then offer protection from it. A soft chime at her door broke the silence. Enter, she said. The door slid open to reveal a tall, familiar figure, Overlord Trezek Vun. Elara didn't move. Bold of you to visit unannounced? Or are we skipping protocol now? Vun stepped inside, every motion deliberate, calculated. His deep red armor glinted under the soft light. This isn't an official visit, he said. I thought you and I might speak, commander to commander. I'm not interested in barbed compliments or veiled threats, Elara replied, setting her pad down. So unless you're here to surrender, I suggest you find a more gullible audience. Vun chuckled, a low vibration more growl than laughter. Surrender? Oh no, Captain. I came to offer you clarity. You're playing a dangerous game. You have no allies, no position of strength. The galaxy sees you for what you are. She stood slowly, voice flat. And what's that? A transient species, short-lived, fragile, desperate to matter. Your fire burns bright, yes. But brief. Elara crossed the room to her desk, poured 2 glasses of water, handed him one. He looked at it, unimpressed. She sipped hers. There's a story from Earth, she began. A moth, attracted to light, keeps flying into the flame. Burn after burn, it keeps coming. You know how it ends? Vun tilted his head slightly. The moth dies, she said. But the flame goes out too. He grunted. Poetic nonsense. No, she said, setting the glass down. It's physics. You throw enough mass at a fire, it suffocates. He narrowed his eyes. I'm beginning to wonder if your species' madness is genetic. Madness and creativity often look the same to people who've only ever known control. He stepped closer, his tone colder now. Do not mistake the Assembly's restraint for mercy. When your colony falls, when your fleets shatter, when the screams of your people reach the stars, there will be no trial. No second chance. Her eyes met his, steady and unreadable. Then you'd better pray it's over quickly. Because if it's not, you'll wish we stayed your punchline. They stood like that, eye to eye. Finally, Vun stepped back, expression unreadable. I see now, he said. You came here hoping to be feared. No, she said quietly. I came here ready not to be. After he left, she opened a private communication channel to Earth High Command. The encryption lagged for several seconds before a familiar face appeared, Director Chen, head of the Terran Strategic Council. Elara, Chen said, voice taut. Status? Ares protocol is pre-warmed. No visible deployment yet. The Vral know we're not bluffing. They just haven't seen the blade. Are you prepared to draw it? If they cross the line, yes. Chen hesitated. You understand what that means? Once Ares is active, there's no going back. We'll be exposed. Every hidden advantage we've spent 2 decades building, burned in one shot. Better that, Elara said, than showing up unarmed to our own execution. The next day, the assembly reconvened. This time, the chamber was silent as Elara walked in. She moved with purpose, a datapad in hand, flanked by no aides, no guards. Just presence. Trezek was already at the center dais. He launched into another speech, his voice smooth as oil. Humans have demonstrated again and again a refusal to comply with shared interstellar law. Their unauthorized experiments near gravitational boundaries, their failure to report engine designs, their reckless colonization. Elara didn't interrupt. She waited, listening to every word. When her turn came, she walked to the center. No theatrics. No anger. I won't waste time denying what's already true, she began. Yes, we reverse-engineered warp faster than anyone expected. Yes, we colonized aggressively. Yes, we've made enemies. And if being efficient, ambitious, and prepared makes us dangerous, then maybe the problem isn't us. She paused. We're not trying to conquer anyone. But we won't let ourselves be conquered either. Several delegates whispered. Some looked surprised. Others intrigued. Trezek tried to speak, but she raised a hand. One more thing, she said, projecting a tactical map above the chamber. This is the Luna Nova system. These are Vral ships. Here are their weapons spooling at this very moment. And here. She tapped a button. A gray symbol appeared at the system's edge. Is our response. The room fell deathly silent. We didn't come here to start a war, Elara said. But if one comes, we'll finish it in one strike. And then she walked away, leaving the map hanging in the air, silent and undeniable. The assembly chamber was silent in a way that felt unnatural. Even the ever-chirping Valari had gone still. Above the center floor, Elara's tactical projection still hovered, Vral destroyers outlined in red, Luna Nova's orbit traced in delicate blue, and a new symbol no one had ever seen before, Earth's hidden fleet. Gray and sharp. Ares. Elara stood beside the projection, her voice quiet but cutting. You see them there, don't you? Your training ships. Uninvited. Armed. Stationed a breath away from our civilians. Shall I pull the logs from their weapon cycles? Their energy spooling patterns? The targeting pings they accidentally left running? No one responded. She stepped forward. This isn't conjecture. It's intent. That's the difference between paranoia and preparation. We didn't come to threaten you. We came to survive you. Vral Overlord Trezikvun rose slowly, his tone poised but brittle. You display an illegal fleet in a peaceful assembly. You threaten preemptive action, and then you call us aggressors? Elara's eyes didn't waver. No. I offer clarity. Because if Earth wanted war, you wouldn't be here to hear about it. Gasps from the upper tiers. Murmurs broke out among the delegates, and a few members of the neutral coalition huddled in whispered exchanges. The cube of record floated down. The Assembly recognizes Earth's right to defend itself, but any engagement must be brought to full vote before. A violent alarm shrieked through the chamber. External breach detected, announced a synthetic voice overhead. Unscheduled approach. Collision trajectory. The tactical map twisted. A blinking red icon appeared outside the station. Velocity high. Origin, Vral's ship registry. A streak of metal broke through the external shield perimeter and slammed into the docking ring beneath the assembly, hard enough to buckle one of the rings and send vibrations through the floor. Delegate orbs shook as containment protocols kicked in. Medical and security teams to level 6, someone barked. Elara was already moving, sprinting toward the nearest data uplink. Emergency overrides flashed across her visor as she connected to the inbound wreckage's transponder. Recognition locked. It was a Vral cruiser, but no longer under Vral control. Inside the wreck, the black box activated. A distorted voice emerged through static, not human, not friendly. Executed per Overlord command. Luna Nova primary target. Eliminate planetary resistance. The audio cut off. Another feed replaced it, a screen capture from the cruiser's internal orders. Sealed. Time-stamped. Verified. Attack directives. Dated 3 days ago. The entire chamber froze. Elara turned, voice rising to fill the air. You accused us of being a threat. But it's your fleet, that just tried to silence this assembly with fire. Trezik didn't speak. Elara walked slowly back to the dais, every eye on her. You wanted us out. Not because we're reckless. Not because we're dangerous. But because you couldn't control us. Because we didn't kneel. The Vral delegates began withdrawing from their seats, silent and rigid. And for that, you aimed your ships at our civilians. She lifted her hand. The gray icon on the tactical map began to move. Luna Nova, defense orbit. 8 minutes later. The stars above the moon shimmered as a ripple of invisible distortion bent space itself. A moment later, 20 ships tore through the fabric of local spacetime, arriving with no warning, no fanfare. Ares' fleet had come. Black-holed and seamless, each ship was a weaponized paradox, bristling with kinetic lances, AI-managed defense systems, and singularity drives. No names. Just numerical designations. Vral destroyers in the sector responded instantly, locking weapons, issuing hails. No response. Just silence. Then, detonation. The first Vral ship crumpled from the inside out as a relativistic spear punched through its core. A microsecond later, another ship's reactor destabilized, overrun by an intrusion virus. The rest barely had time to charge their weapons. 12 minutes later, it was over. Not one human vessel lost. The battlefield went still. Ares' fleet held position, silent as judgment. Galactic Assembly, 10 hours later. The Assembly reconvened under full emergency protocol. The debris field of Vral's ships looped silently behind the holographic windows as new footage streamed, black ships hovering in perfect formation, Luna and Nova shining safely below. Delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Elara stood at the center again, hands clasped behind her back. She wasn't smiling. There was no victory in this. Only clarity. Some of you thought we were too young to sit among you. Too wild. Too unpredictable. Maybe we are. She paced slowly. But you were wrong about the most important part. You thought we were afraid of being small. We're not. We're afraid of being ignored when it matters. We're afraid of watching history repeat itself. Her voice hardened. You all wear the mask of civilization. But you let the strong dominate the weak. You let empires write rules for everyone else and call it balance. She raised her hand and highlighted one fact above all others. Earth didn't fire first. Silence. Then, one by one, delegates began to speak. Valari Ambassador Thrixie. The evidence is indisputable. The Vral Dominion has violated core principles of assembly conduct. Halten Speaker. We propose an immediate vote on sanctions and revocation of Vral privileges. Trezek stood, but no one called on him. No voice offered him the floor. No one even looked his way. He sat down, his face unreadable. The cube returned to the center. The Assembly will now vote on Earth standing as a permanent council member, and on the punitive measures for unauthorized military aggression. The vote passed in minutes. Humanity was in. Vral was out. Later that night, Elara walked the outer corridors of the Assembly ring. The neutron star pulsed steadily outside, bathing the walls in soft flickers of white-blue light. She passed no one. Just silence and the faint hum of the station. At a junction, a young alien diplomat, barely past adolescence, stared at her wide-eyed. He didn't speak, but whispered to a companion. They don't look dangerous. Elara paused, looked at him once, then turned away. No, she thought, we don't. That's the point. And she kept walking.